Hey guys, Chelsea from Attention to Details, and we dug this content up deep from the detailing vault. This was actually filmed in summer of 2024. I know it was over a year ago, but this was actually a coating that I've not done a dedicated review on my channel, and I feel like it is worth doing a dedicated review. This customer purchased this vehicle new and it gets stored outside, and he specifically wanted a graphene coating applied. And so today I'm going to be doing a dedicated video review on the Ethos Graphene V2. Now, I've been using this in my shop actually for over a year. Absolutely love it. But for those of you that are on the market for a graphene coating, I want to share with you guys a quick look at what that application process looks like. Now, we did all of the prep off camera. I've shown that 1,000 times on this channel. We did a contact wash, clay towel treatment, iron remover. We also polished the paint, and now we are doing our panel prep wipe with detox to remove any sort of polishing oils. But for those of you that are looking for a ceramic coating that offers insanely easy application, this has a up to 5-year durability claim, and also is going to help reduce the issue with water spotting and give you exceptional chemical resistance. Let's go ahead and see what application is like. First, we're going to apply several drops to our applicator to prime it, and then apply in a crosshatch pattern. Ooh. Definitely has a stronger smell, just like the first version, which I remember. Does feel like a thicker product, but it's not difficult to apply. And I can see immediate rainbowing. Let me show you guys a closer look at what I'm seeing. So we have nice rainbowing signs. We're gonna come in with our first towel, and holy crap, is that so, I can feel the slickness. That is so easy to remove. That is so much better than the first version. We're just doing a very light touch. That's it. Guys, holy crap. Okay, we might be changing coatings. That is ridiculously easy to work with. That is even easier than the Mickey's 37 graphene. Holy crap. Tim, that is outstanding. Sometimes I get nervous when I'm working with a coating for the first time because I don't know what I'm setting myself up for. If it's gonna be a really involved process, if I'm gonna be sweating, kind of cursing by the end of it because, oh my gosh, my arm is dead. That was a dream to work with. I feel like I need to go back and make sure I did that right, because that was almost too easy. But we're gonna keep moving. But initial thoughts, that was a dream to work with. An absolute dream. So I had to actually watch the video with Tim where he applied this product to make sure that I wasn't missing something. And it actually is just that easy. If you are working in cooler climates with less humidity, obviously you might want to let it sit on there a little bit longer. We're about 69 degrees in the garage with about 60% humidity, so it is a little bit more on the humid side. And so we're seeing kind of that perfect flash time for me to apply. Maybe just have a second to grab my towels and then come in and level. It's hard to see within this lighting, but if we kind of zoom in, you can see we've got a little bit of a rainbowing going on. And when you see that rainbowing, that means that the coating is ready for you to come in and level. You don't need to be like super aggressive with this product, but if it feels easy to remove, then that's kind of that sweet spot. If it starts to get grabby on you, then shorten that flash time, because this product should not be grabby for removal. So with this ceramic coating, I found that I could easily do 2 sections at a time, which for me as a professional detailer is perfect, because even on some larger door panels, you can do an entire door at once, then come in and level. If I were to feel from coated to not coated, I might feel a little bit of a difference, but not much at a fresh application. So we'll give you guys that update in a little bit to see if our slickness increases. We also used this to ceramic coat the sunroof. It did a great job on glass. We didn't have any sort of streaking, so you can also use this on glass for your customers. Now you're not going to see crazy rainbowing with this product, but as it sets up, you can easily see rainbowing, and especially on this flat gray color. Once you see that rainbowing, you know it's time that you can come in and level. But you actually have anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes with this product. If you let it sit a little longer, it can be slightly grabby. But if you let it sit on there and you see that rainbowing after about a minute, you can come in and level, and it is easy breezy lemon squeezy. As I was working with the product, I started kind of pushing it to its limits, and I could easily get entire intricate trunk areas done at once. As you become more comfortable with the product, you'll learn what its limits are based on the environment and the humidity that you're dealing with. But I was pleasantly surprised with this product, how easy it went on, how easy it came off, and how quickly we were able to get around the entire vehicle. If you don't have a softbox light, you're definitely going to want to consider one, because with this coating and the rainbowing, it's very easy to see any sort of high spots or coating left behind. So I highly encourage investing in that to make the ceramic coating process less stressful and more enjoyable. And we are flying through this coating. I mean, flying through. I did turn the air back on because it was getting warm in here, and it is a stronger odor. So just make sure you have ventilation, or turn on, you know, a fan or AC, or crack a window. It is a little bit of a stronger smell, not to the point where I feel sick. Some have given me like major headaches. Most coatings are gonna have, you know, a stronger odor. So you always just wanna be careful. If you can, turn on the AC, crack a window, or crack the garage door. But we are working panel by panel, doing 2 sections at a time, which that makes for just a pleasant experience, and you can work pretty quickly and effectively. The ones that you kind of have to do section by section, when you're having to start and stop, it can kind of mess with your workflow. So we're all done applying the Ethos Graphene version 2 to this VW. It turned out fantastic. I can't wait to pull it out into the daylight to examine it. From what I can tell, we have absolutely no high spots. This coating was possibly a dream to work with. It honestly feels too easy to be a ceramic coating, but it is. But when it comes to applying ceramic coatings, they can be a little stressful if you're working with the wrong product. But with a product like this, I'll be honest with you guys, anyone could apply this product. Whether you're a professional detailer or a DIYer who's never used a ceramic coating before, I think a beginner would be able to grab this bottle off the shelf and have fantastic results. Prep and maintenance are key to getting the most out of your coating. So really, really enjoyed it. I have enough that I could do another sedan. We have about half of the bottle left. So really, really enjoyed this product. Highly recommend it. Honestly, 10 out of 10. So Tim, fantastic product. Cannot wait to see more in the future. So I know I hinted at the beginning of this video that this content was actually from over a year ago. And I also hinted that we had an interesting update for you guys with Ethos. So let's go ahead and just roll right into that. So do you guys remember like a year ago, I did a video review on the Ethos Graphene V2 ceramic coating? Of course you wouldn't, because I never got around to editing it. Well, today we're actually going to be reviewing the Ethos Graphene Professional V2 matrix coating. And so I figured, why don't we combine that footage, and we're going to demonstrate for you guys the consumer grade graphene versus the professional grade graphene coating. For those of you that maybe you're a professional detailer like me and you're wondering, which ceramic coating should I go with? Do I need the pro grade? Should I just go with the Graphene V2? Which one is going to give you more value? Which one's going to be easy to apply? Well, today we're going to be applying the professional grade graphene ceramic coating to this 2010 Mercedes-Benz. We're going to share with you guys prep, since we didn't show that earlier with the VW that we did at the beginning of this video. We're going to share with you guys what proper prep looks like, and then compare and contrast the pro grade graphene coating versus their consumer grade, and see which one gives you an easier install, and talk about some of the benefits of why you should go with one versus the other. So let's go ahead and get started with the detail again. So this is kind of part 2, but it's going to be in one video, so just let's go ahead and get started. And while we're at it, we're going to break out the test hood, and we're going to actually apply the Ethos Graphene V2 to one side and the Pro Grade Graphene V2 on the other side. Let's see if there's any sort of difference with hydrophobics, durability, chemical resistance, etc. For those of you that want to know which one should I have applied to my vehicle, is there a difference? Let's kind of show, is there a difference between a consumer and a Pro Grade ceramic coating? I want to see that test. Do you guys? I mean, if you do, we'll do that in the next video. So just make sure you subscribe and stay tuned, because that's going to be coming up very shortly. But first we have to apply them, let them cure, and then let's go ahead and see if there's a difference between these coatings. So this 2010 Mercedes-Benz E-Class was purchased used by my customer. He's trying to maintain it properly. However, the previous owner did not. You can see on this rock hard paint, we have major swirls and scratches. Even on our wheels, we have a ton of brake dust and even pitting on our wheels from brake dust. We do have a lot of road film and even tire dressing splatter that we need to remove. So we have a good bit of work that we need to do as far as washing on the exterior. But before we go ahead and wash our paint, first we need to address these severely neglected wheels. Now, alongside of the coatings, I was sent some products to test out from Ethos. One of them was their Wheel Cleaner Plus. You can see this is a neon green solution that is thick and it clings. It's also a color changing formula. It has a ton of lubrication, and oftentimes those color changing formulas, they kind of stink like perm dye or rotten eggs. This actually has a very pleasant cherry scent, and you can see it cleans really well. We are going to clean with our brushes, and when you do that, you don't necessarily want a ton of brake dust, but you can see if you were to try to touchless clean, even with high pressure water, this is a fantastic cleaner. So in areas where we didn't get really good contact with our chemical, you can still see that brake dust, but what we hit with our chemical, it removed. Anything that is still kind of stuck on there is actually pitted into the paint. So we didn't necessarily perform any miracles with this product, and I don't think that's what it's designed to do. These are 15-year-old wheels. We've got some issues. We've got clear coat failure, we've got pitting, we've got staining. We're not going to necessarily be able to undo all of that with a wheel cleaner, but what we were able to chemically remove, we were able to do that with a Wheel Cleaner Plus. Even touchless, we were able to remove 95% of the dirt. When we resprayed, nice clean time, nice lubrication to give us a safe cleaning work time. Very pleasant scent, wasn't super aggressive on our finish. So all in all, I think really great wheel cleaner. But obviously, if you've got roached wheels that have been neglected, don't expect miracles. But I think this is a great product to maintain wheels and even do a little bit more heavier cleaning should they be more on the neglected side. Since we're getting this ready for a ceramic coating, we don't want any sort of soaps that have protection within them. So we're using Nexen, their foam decon, to try to remove as much of the dirt from the surface before we come in and do our contact wash. Now we're going to go ahead and do our contact wash off camera, but this vehicle is just presenting challenges every which way. What is that? After doing our contact wash, now it's time to decontaminate the paint. And for that, we're using their iron and fallout remover. It's almost like oil. Very bizarre. This product is a thinner product and spreads evenly over the paint and has a nice surfactant base to it so that we could do our clay towel and chemical decontamination in one. We had a ton of rail dust with this vehicle, and it was essential that we did this step because some of the rail dust had actually started to pit into the paint. This coating will probably outlive the vehicle. Let's just be honest. It's a 15-year-old vehicle. If we have a 10-year, it's going to be a classic vehicle by the time this coating wears off. But more than anything, we want something durable that's going to give us gloss, that's going to give us easier maintenance for the customer. So while this customer may not necessarily be expecting it to be a 10-year coating, and probably a coating like this is best suited for a brand new vehicle, that doesn't mean that an older vehicle can't benefit from a coating like this. Just know it will probably outlive the vehicle.
Washing it was easy. The decontamination step took a little bit more effort. However, the biggest challenge on this vehicle is going to be removing the water spots that's on our glass and our paint. If you have water spots on glass, know that you more than likely have them on your paint. We're trying to remove them as much as possible from the glass. They didn't come off with a acidic water spot treatment, and so we're actually having to polish them off with Clarity Cream from P&S, as well as SB3 Destroy, which is one of my most aggressive acidic water spot removers. We're using a microfiber pad and doing 3 or 4 passes, and we are able to then remove the water spots on our glass. Now, we were able to come up with a solution on glass, which sometimes that's not an easy feat. But when it comes to removing the swirls and scratches and the mineral deposits on our paint, I probably tried 4 or 5 different combinations before we finally landed with Angel Wax Resurrection and the Meguiar's microfiber cutting pad. This is actually one of the most aggressive combinations that I have here at my shop before we break out like 3D ACA 500 or even wool pads. I didn't want to necessarily go that extreme. We're trying to do as much of the paint correction in one step. And I thought that I had a really great solution, but come to find out, after we were done removing all of the swirls and scratches, I pulled it out into the daylight to inspect it, because sometimes sunlight is the best way to inspect your paint, and noticed that we had gone a little bit too aggressive with our correction step. We had a tick of micro marring, and so we pulled it back in and we did a second step of correction with the Rupes yellow foam pad and their finishing polish, and we were able to finish down properly. But this was an exhausting process, but essential when you're putting down a coating that lasts so long. You want to make sure that you've prepped the paint as well as possible.
So because the ceramic coating lasts, they're claiming up to 10 years, which I'm highly doubtful, but even if it lasts 5 years, prep was important that we nailed this as good as we could get it for the customer, because hopefully they're not going to have to polish this and recoat in 2 to 3 years. This is a Garage Queen. It only has 95,000 miles on it, considering it's a 2010. I'm really happy with where we landed. It is not paint perfection, and that is okay. The customer even said he's not expecting paint perfection. It's white, it's an older vehicle, but we did proper prep. Now we're ready to apply our ceramic coating.
So with coatings like this, I prefer to use a 3-towel method. I use 2 low GSM towels to do my initial level, and then a plush Korean microfiber towel just to kind of do a quick final touch to make sure we have no high spots. After shaking it up, you can see we do have kind of a grayish look to our coating. That's that graphene oxide that is within it. And we're going to apply this in our typical half of a hood divided into 4s. We're going to run a stream right down the middle to pull from. We're going to outline our section and then do our crosshatch pattern side to side, up and down, to evenly apply it to the paint. Now, Tim says with this coating that it is going to rainbow, and once you see that rainbowing go to a slight haze, it is ready to level. So we're just going to pull out our softbox light and see just how long that's going to take, so that way we can gauge moving forward with the rest of this coating how big of a space or small of a space we can work. Use that test spot to kind of determine the pace that you want to work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this feels exactly like the original. You kind of mentally prepare yourself that a pro grade coating is going to be hard. No. And holy cow, you want to talk about slickness. That was easy peasy. We let it sit on there about a minute. Maybe we could let it go a little bit longer. Let's see, can we do 2 sections at a time? But I just was playing around with it for it being the first time with it being pro grade, because I did hear Tim very clearly when he said in the video, you do not want high spots with this coating, because if you have a high spot, you're pulling out either a polisher or wet sanding. So that makes my heart rate go a little bit higher. So you just want to make sure that we're using our softbox light afterwards to make sure we have no streaking, No lines, no high spots, and that couldn't be easier. Comes out very easily out of the bottle, which I like. I can't stand when coatings take a long time to get out. It should not take me longer to get it on the pad than it should to get it onto the panel. We're gonna do that stream in the middle to kind of pull from, outline. And it is white, so it is gonna be a little bit harder to see because I'm not seeing like heavy rainbowing. So I think we're just gonna have to use that light to inspect with each section. And if we have to go section by section, that is okay. It's not like we're having to do 5 minutes like some pro coatings. Some pro coatings, it's 5 to 15 minutes, and it kind of makes you feel like you can work fast, but sometimes you work too far, and then wipe off is a bugger. So the fact that this kind of constricts you, and maybe you're working 2 sections at a time, that's okay, because you can get into a good rhythm that way. So it is about 72 degrees in the garage and about 55% humidity. It is a beautiful early fall day. I'm not seeing a ton of rainbowing with this product. I know the Ethos Graphene, I feel like the V2, that one has more rainbowing, or maybe we've already kind of missed that window and we've gone from rainbowing to haze. Alexa, how much time is left on my minute timer?
About 10 seconds left.
All right, so 50 seconds. I'm just trying to kind of time it to see how long ideally I want to let it sit. And I can see kind of our outskirts. We're starting to haze. I don't want it to dry. There's a difference between kind of hazing and drying. Alexa, stop. So at a minute, I can feel it is thicker and grabbier. And what Tim said was that if it is grabby, you let it sit on there too long. So in this climate, we're probably 30, 45 seconds, which I'm happy with. I don't have to sit around and wait for it. So I think we can very easily get maybe 2 sections applied and then instantly come in and get our towels if we work fast.
Now, cure times with this ceramic coating are probably the only drawback that I can see. This has a 24-hour cure time before it can get wet. Now, you can drive it during that time frame, but most ceramic coatings nowadays are anywhere from a 1, 4, even 6-hour cure time. So 24 hours can be a little lengthy, but if you let it sit overnight, you should be good to go. And if you were wondering how this ceramic coating is on glass, we also applied it to the sunroof and had 0 issues. Super easy to install, no streaks left behind. In fact, it was a lot easier to see the rainbowing that was going on glass, and we were very easily able to ceramic coat our glass for our customer.
It is going on so easy. It's probably one of the easiest pro-grade ceramic coatings that I have worked with. I am able to do 2 sections at a time, but you want to make sure that you are working quickly. But as I was working, I was kind of messaging Tim, the owner of Ethos, and just wanting to reiterate, like making sure I understand all of the key points with this coating to make sure I am passing on consistent and accurate information to you guys. And it was interesting because he did tell me that about 6 months back that they actually opened up the pro grade ceramic coating to anyone to be able to purchase. So whether you're a professional detailer with a shop or you're an enthusiast that maybe you're just comfortable with ceramic coatings, you're going to be able to have access to this. Now, if you are a authorized installer, the $99 30 milliliter bottle will come with a warranty. However, if you're not authorized, it will just be the ceramic coating without the warranty. They are also actually working on a V3, which is supposed to be even easier to apply. Like, I don't know how much easier you can get other than it just being like, okay? Seriously though, I'm actually gonna be paying very close attention to their coatings. Highly regretting not getting on board with this ceramic coating sooner.
And I think honestly, when customers contact me and say, I'm looking for a pro grade ceramic coating, this will be what I offer them. But when you got installation like this, I mean, I'm kind of just going through the motions. Super easy to get out of the bottle, super easy to get onto the paint. The only con that I can actually think of is that it's starting to become a little strong in here. In fact, my husband came out and he's like, be careful, because the odor is getting a little bit on the strong side. So if that's the worst that I've got to deal with, I'm kind of used to that with ceramic coatings. That to me is okay. Now I have worked with some that have no odor, but pro grade, not gonna really be killing myself. I can get this done in an hour. We can open up the door, get some fresh air. You can even pop a window if you want. I did actually turn the air on just to make it a little bit more comfortable, but because we were starting to get afternoon sun in here, and it was just making it flash a little bit faster. I wasn't able to quite do 2. We are almost to the halfway part with the bottle. So I think you can easily get 2 sedans. I'm actually going, I feel like a little heavy, but it comes out of the bottle just so easily that you gotta be careful. I'm like, do 1, 2 drops. Sometimes I don't feel like maybe it goes as far as just the traditional Ethos Graphene. Maybe it doesn't feel as slick on the paint as you're applying it. But you can see, even as I'm sitting here talking to you guys and just kind of working my way around the vehicle, it's easy. It's enjoyable. It's not stressful. And for those of you that's what you're looking for out of a pro grade ceramic coating, we're going to put the link to it down below. So we are finally all done with applying our Graphene Pro to this Mercedes-Benz. And honestly, the prep was probably the hardest part. You're putting on a ceramic coating that can last up to 10 years. You want to make sure that you get it as clean and as polished as possible, and that's what we did. Now, when it came to installation, this made up for the difficult prep that we had, because this was actually one of the easiest pro-grade ceramic coatings that I've ever applied. I've worked with several over the years. Most of them are going to be super thick. They're going to be higher solids, but they can be grabbier to work with, more physically involved, and also more expensive. The fact that you can purchase this for $99 for a 30 milliliter size bottle, it's actually very affordable for a pro-grade coating that can last up to 10 years. When it comes to our Ethos Graphene V2 or our pro-grade ceramic coating, clearly both of these ceramics are going to be easy to install, very affordable, and deliver exceptional hydrophobics. I have seen impressive things with V2 on my Subaru. We are at 1.5 years, and I'm seeing no issues whatsoever. I'm actually very interested to install these products on my test panel. We're gonna let them cure a full 7 days. For those of you that wanna see this test, Ethos Graphene V2 versus the Pro Grade ceramic, make sure you guys hit that notify bell and subscribe so that way you don't miss out, because I think this is gonna be interesting to see, is there really any benefit with a Pro Grade coating, or can you just go with something like this? I think it's gonna be based on your needs. It's gonna be based on your budget, but for those of you that want to see that test, stay tuned. But there you have it, our Pro Grade ceramic coating and our Ethos Graphene V2. 2 different products, 2 slightly different applications, but both very easy to install. But I want to know from you guys, what do you think? Which one would you rather? What are the benefits of having one versus the other? But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next detail.
Holy slick. It definitely increased overnight.
I sort of wish we would have been able to switch the ceramic coatings for the vehicles that we coated. A brand new vehicle is going to definitely benefit from a 10-year ceramic coating, but regardless, both vehicles turned out fantastic. Both vehicles now have long-term protection, are going to have easier maintenance, and look brand new. Hopefully you guys enjoy this closer look at both of these Ethos coatings. Make sure you stay tuned for that durability test. But here's just a sneak peek of what you can expect with the hydrophobics from our Pro Grade coating. Oh, I cannot wait to see this durability test. We'll see you guys soon.